Now, what you see on Bitcoin is basically you have a chart where the price of Bitcoin has now gone stationary. We've clearly see that price is stuck between basically 28,500 to 700 and 27,000. Now, the key here is it's making consolidation, but even with the stock market, and this is the key, folks, the stock market's been going up, and this has not. Usually, Bitcoin goes up when the stock market goes up because it's a risk-on asset. We haven't been seeing that, so that's a little problematic, but you still have a chance for it to break through this 28,700 level. If it doesn't in the next couple days, the price action is likely going to lead to the downside. So again, I'd say you have a ticking time bomb here. It can either go up in the next 3 days. If not, look for it to collapse down to 25,000 on the chart of Bitcoin.
On a day of unverified rumors and soaring Doge, Bitcoin couldn't decide if it liked the air above $28,000 or below. The largest cryptocurrency by market capitalization was recently trading at about $27,680, down slightly more than a percentage point over the past 24 hours, as investors did what they have done regularly for much of the past few months: make sense of disparate, sometimes unflattering but always interesting information. BTC spent Monday's first few hours lingering below $28,000 before rising above the threshold through much of the midday and then tumbling again. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, founder and chief market strategist at InTheMoneyStocks.com and verified crypto investing, Gareth Soloway updates about Bitcoin's current market standing and his outlook for Bitcoin in 2023.
So it's a supply and demand situation, right? So you have many people that are just kind of holding in for a longer period of time now. And you also have a lot of people that are coming into the Bitcoin markets, like you mentioned, because of the banking crisis. So there's a lack of supply, and that's driving price up. Now, we are into some big resistance here. The level right around this 30,000 point is the pivot low from the bull market of 2021. So it acts as a very psychological indicator or resistance level for Bitcoin. So that's the big level to watch right now. If it can get there, Bitcoin, if it gets through there, Bitcoin may have some big legs. So on a technical basis, that's pure technicals right there. So you have this level that people remember. It was this very pivotal point. So when we had broken it to the downside, that's where you got that final flush from 30,000 down to about 15,700. So now as we come back up, that works as a psychological level where people are like, oh, this should be a significant level. I'm a little nervous about this level, and it creates sellers there. So again, you have to get those sellers to be exhausted ultimately for them to sell and buyers to take those coins. And if that happens and it can get above 30,000, then you get the next leg to the breakout. Yeah, so that's the fascinating thing about it, is that a lot of times what happens is, number one, you have people that bought in at that level. They wrote it up to 69,000. Then they came back down and they said, oh, it's going to hold this 30,000 level. When it broke, they were kind of caught off guard. In addition, when we came down kind of in the 2022 period to that 30,000 level, we had a period where we went sideways, right? There was this long consolidation. What happens in consolidation is you have buyers meeting sellers. And so there's a lot of people that are buying in thinking, oh, this was the low from 2021. It should hold. This is where the price is going to go up. When it collapses through that, they're underwater. And so when price comes back to that level, they're finally made whole. They get back their money that they started with. A lot of people psychologically will say, oh, I'm back to my break even on my portfolio. Let me unload it here. And that's what creates the resistance.
BTC has clung tenaciously to handholds around this level since mid-March, despite a near-banking meltdown that engulfed two crypto-friendly banks and amid generally more favorable conditions for digital assets. The current situation for Bitcoin is pretty positive. That's the reality on the ground. Goodman noted that the injection of new money into the economy as a backstop by a panicking Federal Reserve to address the banking crisis boosted investor liquidity for certain stocks and cryptos. People are feeling brave enough now with this new liquidity to get back into what they consider big, profitable companies like Microsoft, like Apple. And likewise, in the crypto market, they're going for what is considered the safer cryptos, which are Bitcoin and Ethereum.
I think there's always a level of caring. I think it speaks to the more macro environment for Bitcoin. So, like for instance, the banking crisis, it was a short-term positive, but I'm a believer that it's a long-term positive because it shows the relevancy of why we need Bitcoin. These other little stories, I mean, they play small roles, but I think it's a bigger macro environment where it kind of makes the case or makes the lack of case for the Bitcoin long-term play. Yeah, so in terms of price going down, my biggest concern is the macro economy, right? So I'm pricing in a recession in the U.S. economy, maybe a global recession in 2023, the second half. My fear for Bitcoin, and this is going to be the big struggle, is that if the asset markets, meaning the stock market, starts dropping because earnings are going down because people are not spending the money that they were, and you have a drop, let's say, of the S&P of 25 more percent, can Bitcoin withstand that selling pressure, or does it bleed into crypto? And that's the biggest fear for me. On the bullish side, to be honest, my biggest bull case is for Bitcoin's regulation to finally be unveiled, for crypto regulation. Once we get regulation, there's a strict set of rules that institutional money can follow. And once they have a game plan, I mean, same thing for me. I do dabble in crypto, but I'm not going to put in a ton of money without knowing what the government's going to impose on me. So once we know the game plan, what the rules are, then I think it brings in a lot of new money from the institutional side. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. We've seen glimpses of it being a risk off asset where it actually goes up, like during the banking crisis. So I think I've seen that throughout the last year or two. There's been these glimpses of it. Although if you look at the majority price action in Bitcoin, like in 2022, the stock market was coming down, Bitcoin was coming down. So I think it's slowly maturing into that asset. I'm just not 100% in belief that it's fully matured yet. Remember, we think about it, right? It's basically a 14-year-old. So you still have a very volatile nature of a 14-year-old. It needs to mature into an adult, and then it can take on that digital gold.
Meanwhile, crypto markets were mulling an unverified rumor that an Interpol red notice had been issued for the cryptocurrency exchange's founder and CEO, Changpeng CZ Zhao. A red notice is a request to law enforcement worldwide to locate and provisionally arrest a person pending extradition, surrender, or similar legal action, according to the Interpol website. Neither Binance nor Interpol responded to a CoinDesk request for comment, although the block reported that the exchange had denied the rumor in an email to the publication. Binance's BNB token was recently down 0.3%.
Right now, I'm playing a little bit very small, right around this 28.4, 28.5 level on the short side. I plan to add up to 30,000 and change, right? If it gets above 30 and establishes it, just like we discussed, that would be a breakout. I would look to cover my short and then potentially flip long at that price. So for me, it's right now, you have Bitcoin and Ethereum, which are leading the pack. If you compare them to the other alts like Solana, Avalanche, Polygon, those are still way off their near-term highs. So this is a very much a bull drive by the banking crisis where you see money flowing into the best quality assets out there, being Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm curious if the alts do have a secondary run. Sometimes they run after the Bitcoin and Ethereum moves. For the most part, basically we pull back. I have a major buy level right around 25,000. So a retrace to 25, there's major support there. And then below that, you're looking at around that 18 to 19,000 support level. So right now I'm a trader of crypto, even though I'm a long-term believer. I think we're still in this kind of, figuring out itself phase. But again, you got to be nimble in this market until it's a full-blown bull again.
So, what are your thoughts about Gareth Soloway's prediction? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.